G'day guys, Morgan Jones here from Business Insurance Group, and today I just wanted to make a really quick video about a sticky little issue for us insurance brokers that we call contractual liability. Now, before I go into it, for any of the lawyers out there, I'm not talking about contractual liability in the same sense that you might look at it, although the two are interrelated. Now, you can imagine when you go to an insurance company and you want any sort of liability policy, and with that I'm lumping in professional indemnity, public liability, products liability, probably even directors and officers liability. You tell them all about your business and they go, okay, punch that into their little computer or their little algorithm, and they decide this is how much premium you should pay, right? And when they do that, they've figured out this is how much risk applies to your business. But what happens in the context where you might have said, okay, this is what we do as a business and this is how much risk we have. But then on the side, you've then gone and signed up to an agreement under a contract for some work you're doing, which attracts a whole lot of extra liability to you than what would have otherwise attached. So I'll give you an example of that in just a second. This is super common under construction contracts that you might get a clause that looks something like this. The contractor, that's you, agrees to indemnify, which for present purposes really just means cover, the principal, us, for any injury, damage, or other loss of any kind, however arising in connection with the project. Now let's think about this, right? Your insurer has no idea that you're about to enter into this contract, but what you've essentially done is agreed to cover somebody else on a work site for anything that happens on that whole project. So, if you think about this, right, what you've essentially done is attracted a whole lot of extra liability that your insurer has no idea about. You've essentially gone and said, yep, whatever happens on that work site is now our problem. So what your insurer does is they say, okay, well, we don't want you to do that. We only want to attract liability for things that we know about or could reasonably foresee in the future. So they put a little clause into your policy which looks something like this. We will not cover you for any liability which you assume under an agreement unless that liability would have attached to you without that agreement. So what that's essentially saying is, yeah, we'll cover you for whatever liabilities we can already foresee and would attach to you anyway, but if you've just signed up for it under some sort of an agreement, then we're not going to cover it. And to be honest, that's fair enough. Otherwise, there's just endless potential for claims that could be attaching to you, which you don't really want. And if you're the person who's holding the policy, you want to be careful about these sort of agreements anyway. You don't want to be entering into these agreements which attach all this liability to you, which wouldn't otherwise be your problem. So rather than treating this like an issue within your policy, you should treat it as a check and balance, which makes you go, okay, I need to be very thorough about the contracts that I'm reviewing. So you've really got two options. Firstly, you can make sure that your contracts don't have any of these sort of clauses in it, or pass them on to your insurance broker so that we can make sure they don't have any of these sort of clauses in it, and we can give you the all clear to make sure that you're okay to enter into this contract and it's not going to offend your insurance in any way. Option B, if you've got a massive project, it's with a big construction mob and you think, well, this is going to be very lucrative for me and they won't take no for an answer on me signing this, what we can do is go to your insurance company and say, okay, let's get this clause scoped out, let's get this exclusion scoped out, and let's get the client covered for this agreement and get everybody on the same page. But what that's going to mean is we have to provide a copy of the agreement to the insurer, and we've also got to probably pay a premium if it's particularly onerous. So the best bet, whenever you've got a contract coming up, before you sign anything, you should pass it over to your insurance broker, and if they're good, they'll be able to review that and provide you some input as to whether it's going to offend your insurance or not. And if it is, what are you going to do about it to fix the issue? So get in touch with us if you've got a potential problem. We'll be glad to help you out. Thank you.